If you are a business owner, then you are probably regularly on some rhythm looking over your numbers to see how your business is performing, whether that's monthly, quarterly, or at the end of the year. And we have just found that the scoreboard that actually matters might not be the numbers that are showing up on your profit and loss statement. It might not be the revenue that you're seeing reflected over this last year. So, where you might think, man, we just absolutely killed it this year, there's actually some more important metrics that, if you care anything at all about legacy and about lasting in life and your family, even, then there are some more important things that you should be looking at rather than just your bottom line.
Right.
I'm Kristen, and this is my husband, Ben. And as entrepreneurs ourselves who have grown a 7-figure business together, we have learned a lot over the years about what is really important in life, especially as a couple who have young children at home. What kind of legacy do we want to be leaving for our family and in the business world? And just what's going to matter the most after we're gone from this earth. And so, together, after a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, and investing a lot in our marriage, investing in our business, investing in our own personal development, we have come up with the 5 legacy metrics that really matter beyond just the bottom line at the end of the year. So, our first one is
The 5 legacy.
the
I
5
like it.
legacy metrics.
I'm just gonna write a book about this.
Oh, that's a great title, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is L,
L.
stands for love. And in this case, marriage, like, so the health of your marriage. So at the end of the year or the quarter or the season, at whatever time you're measuring this, what is the status of your marriage? What did it take for you to get? Because I guess the whole frame of this whole conversation is growing a business costs you something. And it costs a lot of intangible things that don't always end up on the spreadsheet at the end of the year.
Right.
So yes, you have your advertising costs, your marketing, your payroll for your employees, and different things like that. Taxes. But there are a lot of things that pursuing a business and growing a business cost you that are intangible, things you won't see on the spreadsheet. Like, what did it cost your marriage? What did it cost your family? And so the biggest metric we would say to check first is, if you're a married business owner, what is the status of your marriage right now?
Yeah. It's a huge one because we can go through a whole entire year without even checking in.
Mhm.
And that's what we did for, actually, it wasn't even a year, it was like longer than that. We were growing our first business and we've never even considered checking in with each other until we learned that, like, hey, this is like a really good healthy rhythm that you should be doing as a married couple with pursuing a goal.
Mhm.
So it's, I think it's like we say it like it's common and like, well, duh. But I actually think that a lot of couples don't actually check in, whether you are in business or not. And just at the end of the year, like, how did we do? Like, how did we do? I think having that deep conversation and just like really checking in with each other
Mhm.
and to see where you're at.
Well, because so often I think we get on autopilot. And especially in the beginning, maybe it's different because you're trying to figure out who has what role, what is our rhythm, what's our, like, who's in charge of what thing. But then at some point you kind of figure out what works. And so especially if you have kids involved, it's like mom takes care of the kids, dad goes to work, and or whatever that dynamic might look like in your family, as we sort of settle into our roles and responsibilities. And then we just keep doing what we know to do,
Mm,
and things are fine. They're running smoothly, but we're not interacting as much. We're not as intentional to have time with each other. And like you're saying, like at the end of the year, you can just kind of be like, wait, who are you?
right.
Did we have any alone time? When was the last time we went on a date? When was the last time we got away, just the two of us?
Yeah, because running a business and we do it together, or even if one runs it, one stays at home, like, by whichever way your guys' rhythm is, you can still, even if you're running a business together and you see each other every day, but that doesn't mean you're actually like working on your relationship. You're working on the business, because working on the business doesn't equal you working on the relationship. And what you working on the relationship is way better, way more like for your future than working on your business. Because at the end of the day, you can lose your business, but you don't want to lose your marriage.
And your marriage is like the foundation of everything else. So if you think about that, like, I know there's just so many stats out there on if home life isn't good, your business performance suffers.
Yeah.
And so it's your creativity, your problem solving, your ability to think clearly and delegate, and So it ultimately affects your bottom line, even if you might not think that.
Yeah.
Because you always just have this nagging, like, my wife's mad at me. It's in the back of your head, or you're fighting, or you're dealing with text messages all day because they're, whatever. Hopefully you guys aren't like text fighting all day. But if things aren't going well,
Right.
then you're not going to kill it in business. It just doesn't work like that. And then how much more so for your family? Your marriage is the foundation of your family. And so your kids are going to suffer
Mm-hmm.
if your marriage isn't strong, if they're watching you fight, or if they're not. It's also just like the complacency. It's not that they're seeing you actively be bad. It's, are they not seeing you actively be intentional and great? And so that,
Actively being in love with each other.
yeah, like that impact that has on them, that like for a kid to be able to grow up and say, I know my mom and dad loved each other. I saw them snuggle on the couch. I saw them help each other with household chores, or I saw them serve each other and do things for each other, and be physically affectionate. Like there's
Well,
so
that's
much that,
if you think about that right now, your childhood, how often did you see your mom and dad like kiss and hug and hold hands and go on dates? Because when you sit there and we talk to like a lot of couples, and it's like that wasn't modeled for them. And so that thought too of like, well, that has to be such an intentional thing. And maybe was because of the stress of work and running a business. And when you're so focused on that, then you forget what actually matters, which is your relationship.
Mhm. And like the emotional damage that has on kids. And
Yeah.
ultimately, you're doomed to repeat what you've seen unless you're intentional to break out of it,
Yeah.
which is kind of our heart behind Legacy Shift in general, is like, don't just follow the footsteps that were left in front of you. Some people have amazing examples, and that's so
Hmm.
cool, but some people don't. Actually, a lot of people don't.
Most
And
people
so
don't.
what are
Yeah.
some healthier rhythms, and what are changes I need to make in my family so I'm not doomed to just repeat what my parents did?
Right.
Whether you come from a long line of divorces, or dad was an alcoholic, or mom did this, like whatever you might have experienced in your childhood, you have to be intentional or you will repeat that.
Yeah.
And so that you don't just drift into a healthy marriage. You have to be intentional about it. And how much more so when you're growing a business? Because growing a business takes so much investment and
Hmm.
time and money and thought. And if you're not doing that same thing in your marriage, then your business might seem like it's doing well and growing, and you might be killing it on paper, but your marriage is suffering at home. And what's it all worth at the end if you're celebrating your business victories alone because you
Mm.
lost your spouse?
Sheesh.
So
Yeah.
it's an
Oh, it's
important
good. So
metric.
that thought of what did this year do? Did it bring us further? Did it bring us closer together or further apart? And it's a good reflection. It's a good question to ask. And it's a good, like, open, honest. It's almost like when you go on your little marriage retreat, which we always highly recommend you do.
You should totally
Like,
do that.
that almost could be like a first question too.
Hmm.
Like, reflecting out after this year, where are we at now? Like, did we come closer together, come stronger together? Are we stronger now, or are we further apart? Like you said, like, who are you now?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like such a subtle little change sometimes that you didn't even realize it. But if you talk about it, if you reflect about it, if you're open about it and honest, then you can, nip it in the butt early versus like going years. And then you see those. I remember working for a contracting company. They were divorced. They were divorced, but still running a company together. The most awkward
How was
company,
that
the
going?
most awkward like company to work for. Like it was just so weird. And because like they talked a lot together, and you would think they were married, but they weren't, because they really like didn't like each other, but they ran a successful business together. It was just such a weird. It was always just weird. Like when we had to interact with both of them together at the same time, so weird. And obviously they let things go, and their story, however the story is, because in construction it's very stressful with customers and big projects and all the things. Just like in most businesses, there's all kinds of different things, right? So yeah, don't be like them.
Well, it's interesting to think, because in that they salvaged the business relationship.
Right.
And so why was the priority to salvage a business relationship and not the marriage?
Yeah.
And if you could do one, why not both? And so it's just, and that just speaks to like how little support there is for married business owners,
Mm.
because we don't know how to, like, there's not a lot of resources for all of it. So like you can go to marriage counseling, you can go get business resources, but like how many things are there for people that are in it together? And there's so many specific, like unique nuances to like your struggles
Yeah.
as a married couple in business together that there's not a lot of places you can go for help. So that's another one of our hearts for Legacy Shift.
Hey there, we hope you are enjoying this conversation. But hey, we had a quick question for you. Right now, currently, who is in your corner for your marriage? One thing we know about the top athletes, the top business owners, the top leaders is that they all can't do it without the support.
That's right. And when it comes to a couple in business, it's the same way. Imagine what it could be like, even if you're not in crisis. Maybe everything's going great. But imagine what it could be like to have a couple in your corner, encouraging you and making sure you guys stay aligned as you continue down your path together.
Or maybe you are in crisis mode and you have no idea where to even start. Well, we can help you with that too.
There is going to be a link in the description below. You can click that link and you can go ahead and book a discovery call with us. We would love to get to know you, hear your story, and see if we might be a good fit to help you on your path moving forward.
Let's get back into this conversation. I think it's creating like moments and places that married business owners can be together and just jam together. 'Cause sometimes you feel like you're as when you own a business, you already feel like you're on an island.
Yeah.
Especially as you're growing and you're trying to expand and you're trying to
You're breaking the norm.
yeah, and you're sustaining this wealth for your family, and maybe it's a generational thing, and had it, you haven't had that kind of wealth run through your family yet. So you're trying to break like generational curses, and which 100% like we believe in, and we're for you too on that, and like go get it. But at the end of the day, like we have to remember keep the main thing the main thing, and obviously having a supporting spouse, whether you're running it together or not, like having a supporting spouse it's all that matters.
Yeah. And even speaking to that too, at the end of the year, it's like there's so much, it's so much more than just business because yes, the business has its highs and lows, but you personally and individually go through a lot. And
Mm,
so what did your marriage, like what hits did your marriage take this year?
mm,
And so whether that looks, and we've experienced all kinds of things in our time together, but it's like, did you have close friends that moved away? Did you guys maybe move? You added a new child, like you had
right.
a baby, or you're empty nesters now. You had a kid graduate high school. Maybe somebody retired in the family, or there's a family illness, or maybe you are dealing with grief. You lost a loved one. There's all kinds of things that can happen throughout the year, and each one of you processes that differently.
Yeah.
And so checking in with each other on like, hey, how are you doing right now? And especially if it's been a rocky year, like you owe it to yourselves to take that time and just sit uninterrupted, no kids around, no phones, and just have a conversation about like, how are you doing? How are you really doing right now? Because if one of you is suffering or struggling or dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, dealing with, whatever it is that someone might be carrying alone, you can always work through those things together. But
Mm,
when one of the spouses feels alone and isolated,
yeah.
that
It's
leads to
dangerous.
really dangerous places.
Yeah.
So that's when you can start to look outside of your marriage for connection from someone who understands that's the opposite sex. That's where affairs happen. Um, People can turn to substance abuse because they're dealing with strong, intense mental
Right.
things that they feel like they can't talk to their spouse about. And there's so many destructive things that can come from each spouse living in isolation. And so the
Mm,
more you can have conversations, the more you're in communication, the more you're just open and honest and transparent with each other, the
yeah.
healthier and more intimate your relationship is.
Yeah. Bring things to light.
Hmm.
The the biblical
Yeah.
way to look at it.
Yes.
When we leave things in the dark, it's a very scary and dooming like feel.
Yeah.
If we can bring it to light,
There's hope
then
for
like
any
when you're in
situation.
it together, like I think that's the whole heart of the legacy shift. And hopefully like you guys have seen other conversations of ours, or maybe this is the first time that you're stumbling upon us. Our whole like heart is that like you guys are one together in purpose, and and to be in purpose and to live this life and to do whatever God has for you as a couple. You have to check in with each other. Are we how are we doing right now? Like do you like this moment? Like how are we now? We're not living off last year. We're not living off a couple years from now, maybe when it was great. Like, how are we doing now? And I think that's a great, another one of those great questions to really be open and honest with each other.
Yeah. If you had like a really great vacation like 3 years ago
Yeah. We're
and
not
you're like,
living
remember when we
off.
did that?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's time for another one. Let's make new memories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which brings us to our next one.
Next one.
The next metric is engagement, or you could say like presence. So in your home, like presence in your home with your family, especially if you have young kids at home.
Yes.
What would they say? Like, what was their experience of your year?
Oof.
You know,
That's tough.
if we asked your kids right now,
If we mic them up,
how much did you see mom and dad this year? Or how much
ouch.
one-on-one time?
Good night.
Did they take you out? Did you go do one-on-one things? Like, what was your amount of attention on the kids versus your phone?
Mm.
These are hard
Coming.
questions. Like, they're
Coming.
painful. Well, because we have to ask
No,
them, you
yeah,
know?
we as we create content, and so we're on our phone with making reels, or we're editing this podcast,
Zoom
or a
calls.
Zoom call,
Yeah.
or whatever we have to do. It's like it kind of looks like we might be on our phone a lot, but like that's how our business, it's where it runs through. Um, I just even remember, as you said that, like, and is like as we repeat things that our parents did, how my dad was always working. That dude worked my whole entire life, which was great because he was, on a mission to provide for us. But he ran his own business and all that, and like he always came home tired. Didn't ever want to play basketball or throw the football. And this isn't like a sob story for me. And like, oh man, but I just like, as you say that, like, what are you repeating right now for your kids? So how you were raised, and the things that like you might even not even realize that you're doing right this second that your dad or your mom did to you,
Yeah.
and you're repeating it to your kids. Like it's always like the simple things too that we just like bypass and just think like, oh, I'll never do that, and then like we end up doing it. So I think those questions to ask, that's tough.
Hmm. Yeah. And how short childhood really is.
Yeah.
I think when you stop, it's like you almost don't notice until the milestones,
Those pictures,
the
those
pictures,
silly pictures
the
that come up.
throwbacks.
Gosh darn it.
1 year ago, 6 years ago,
Yeah.
9 years ago, it's like, oh, they were babies and
Yeah.
they just grow so fast. And I think it can be easy to look. I'll speak from like a mom's perspective. There's so many difficult seasons when they're little, like baby, you don't
Mhm.
sleep when they're newborns. They're crying all the time. The diapers, like you think about all those things. Maybe you're restricted in what you can do because you have a baby. I just remember like even trying to get out of the house to go to the grocery store was like a 3 hour long process because now you got to feed the baby. Now they have to change their diaper. Now they need a nap. And it can seem so daunting in the day, like during the day. And you just feel like, is this ever going to end? And you almost want it to go faster.
Mm,
You want to just get to the next season because this one's so hard.
right.
And then once you get out of that season and you look back, it's like all those little things that I didn't cherish when I was in it, Because like every season has its challenges, but every season has its such precious moments.
Right.
And so like just thinking our youngest is 8, almost 9 right now at the time of filming this. And looking back at like, I almost don't remember, the new baby smell and
Mm.
even the diapers and the
I
little
feel like you've really been reflecting on
I've been
like the baby.
reflecting a lot, but like the sounds they make when they
I don't-
sleep. And what did you say?
We're
No,
done.
we're done. We're done. We're complete. Our family is complete. Mark my words. But it's just like looking back at that, and obviously the pictures. If you just now have young children at home or you're just starting your family, I urge you to take more videos because I took a lot of photos with our first
Oh,
one,
yeah.
but I didn't take as many videos. And now like to be able to look back and just see like their essence of how they were, like their sweet little voices and the
Mhm.
giggles and the little funny things they would say, take more videos. But yeah, it's like and in the first one, because of our, we go into more depth of our story in other videos, but that was the surprise, our first one.
Right.
And so I was kind of thrust into this like motherhood and I was not prepared for it. And so I was dealing with a lot of mental stuff at the time. I mean, like I had so much hormones, all the things, like I really that was a hard season for me. And so I purposed with our second one, I'm going to really enjoy these moments and soak them up.
Right.
And I really did so much more. I was so much more intentional about, and even that I might not have all the photos and the videos, but like, I know that I cherish those moments. And it's just such a big deal because now when we talk to them, now that they're older, it's like, hey, what are some of your favorite traditions we've done as a family? What are your, and so for us, like we homeschool our kids. This is our 6th year of homeschooling, which is crazy. But even thinking ahead of like, what do you remember about our first day of school? And they know they're used to getting the desk is covered. Their desk at home is like covered with all these new goodies that I bought them and their new
Right.
curriculum for their year and their new books and special pencils that they each have so that they don't accuse each other of stealing pencils.
The thing.
It's a whole thing. But it's just really cool to see the things that they remember about their childhood and that mean a lot to them. So when that comes to the way we celebrate birthdays or
Christmas.
Christmases
Yeah.
and just those moments that they cherish and listening and leaning into those things because you're curating their childhood and you don't get to go back and do that again. And so sometimes the alignment of your life, if you think about when you get in like hustle and grind season to start a new business, it often aligns with when your kids are youngest. And those are their most formative
Right.
years. And so if you squander that because you're just trying to grind with good intentions,
Yeah.
you're trying to give them a good life and you're trying to be able to buy them all the things and take care of them and have free time later, but you're missing their childhood and they're missing you in their
Mm.
childhood and you don't get that time back. And so it is possible to do both. You just have to be so intentional about it.
Yeah.
Like being home for family dinners
I think
and
that you have to build the life that you want. You can't let it dictate you. I think so often it's easy for business, or if we're rising up in a company trying, for higher for our high earner couples,
Mhm.
and you're growing and you're a successful CEO, like there's such a demand on you. And but at the end of the day, like we have to create the life that we want. And I love it. I've heard of this from our coach, and now it's just like kind of stuck with me is if we can build a life when we're at work where we say, "Oh man, we work and now we have to go home and like we get to rest." If we flipped that like perspective, where like a biblical perspective, even mind you, now that when we go home, like that's where the work begins. Because being engaged with your kids, like that takes work, it takes
Mhm.
effort. Being engaged with your spouse, like that's work, that's effort, that's it's putting in the work that like actually matters. So if we flip that, where what we do at work, we enjoy, and we're building this life, and then we can go so that we can focus on the real work, which is our family.
Yeah.
And that perspective is a crazy perspective because so many of us don't do it the right way.
Mhm.
We come home and we want to rest, and then we have the weekend, and now we want to hang out, and then we want to relax and decompress and watch the game, or whatever,
Video games or
video games, or
zone
whatever
out.
whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
Even golfing sometimes could be like, oh, I was going to go golf, and it's just like, well, maybe we should hang out with the family first, which is cool now that the kids are older, because then they can just come with
They go with you.
in the cart, get the clubs, and then obviously love it. But depending on the season or where you're at, not we need to be focused on our engagement with our kids, and it's just a good perspective. It's like maybe if you don't want the hard truth, maybe don't actually ask your kids. But I would also highly recommend you and your spouse just talking about like what would our kids say. Like if we were to ask them, Kristen and I were to ask them, would you be embarrassed
Would you be
or
afraid of what they're
afraid or
gonna
like, oh my
say?
gosh, don't say that.
Yeah.
Like if that's what your first thoughts are, like change it.
Yeah.
Like you have the cool thing is like you have the moment and you can change it, but you have to just be super intentional. Even if it's been years. Even if it's been years of like you doing the same thing repetitively over and over and over again, you still have the opportunity to change it now. Like
Mhm.
you can set it and change it now, cuz here's the cool thing, and what really works for parents, say, hey, Billy, whatever your kid's name is, so sorry. I like your mom and I. We have not been present. We have totally dropped the ball on this, and we apologize because like we're sorry, and we're gonna do better. If you like the power of our words, like our life and death, and we can speak death over our kids and say dumb thing. We can call them names and all this stuff, or we can just apologize and just intentionally be better. And that with your kids will go so far
Yeah.
for them.
And not guilt. Like, I hope you don't hear guilt in this. We hope you don't hear guilt in this. But exactly that, like the hope of just start today and make a new legacy moving forward.
Right.
And so don't beat yourself up and don't, be filled with regrets and all that. It's like, oh, this is a wake up call. This is an eye opener. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to now process what changes I need to make. And exactly that. Like your kids don't expect perfect parents. It's not about perfection. It's just about being honest and open and especially being able to say sorry. Like how many adults ever say sorry to their kids?
Right.
We just want to steamroll over them or like gaslight them into like, I didn't really mess up. That was your fault or,
Right.
whatever manipulation kind of stuff. But it's like, no, own up to it. Show them what it looks like to live a life of integrity. And I'm going to be a man of my word, a woman of my word. And we're going to do this moving forward now. So if you vowed to like read them a bedtime story every night and you haven't done it in months, just say like, I'm sorry, let's start doing that again. Or if you miss a night, like no big deal. Just say, oh, whoops, we missed it. We'll pick it back up tomorrow,
Just admitting that, yeah. Because like reflecting again, like how often did your parents like say sorry or like, oh man, we really messed up or included you into some things too. I think sometimes we shield kids from a lot of things like in business or whatever. Because even now, like I'll even if we have like a interesting customer or something like that, we'll like kind of reveal some of the things to the kids, our
Mhm.
kids too, just to like include them in. Like it's not always like this amazing and it's rainbows and like we're just like Skittles are falling from the you know what I mean? It's not always business isn't always like that. It is tough. And to like show them and kind of like open the hood a little bit, not like in the depths of all of it, but like
But real life.
just reveal like so
Yeah.
it's like they understand too. Like sometimes when we're on the phone or we're having a conversation is because some people are tough or an employee is having issues and we have to deal with that. Um, to kind of like let them in too, because sometimes we think we're doing them a favor and shielding them, and really
Mhm.
it's like if you would just like include them into your life, like then they would understand because kids are actually like really smart and they like are sponges and they get it too, you know?
And they're better set up for problem solving in their
Right,
adulthood. So it's like they'll look back and say like, how did my parents handle this
right,
when they had a crazy bill that came in the mail or a customer freaked out or whatever the situation is.
yeah,
It's like they learn from. I've even heard this too, like if they don't ever see you resolve conflict or like
mm,
have a disagreement as
right,
husband and wife, not we don't want to fight in front of our
yeah,
kids, like never name calling, escalating like heavy tones, those kinds of things. But if you're having a disagreement, don't do that because sometimes people will like leave and then go like fix it behind closed doors. And the kids never saw that. They saw the disagreement, but they didn't see how you
mm,
resolved it.
yeah,
And so it's like when you have a disagreement like that, resolve it in front of them and show them, let them hear mom say, I'm sorry to dad. Let them hear you kind of
I
like
like what you
share
said.
I
That
know
was
I
good.
did that intentionally.
Good.
That was intentional.
Wow.
Not that dad never has to say sorry to mom, but I
You
just thought
know.
I'd take the fall on that one.
That's
Um,
great.
but it's so much healthier because then when they get into marriage, they'll understand, oh, it's okay if I say sorry. It's okay if I confess that like
Yeah.
I made a mistake and that's actually really healthy. So it's like they need to see the bad side of life too, so they know how to handle those things.
Yeah, so
If
you're
we always
setting
act
them
like
up.
it's great, then they're
Yeah.
gonna. And then when they make a mistake or they hit a hurdle in business, they're gonna think they're a failure because they never saw it modeled for them that like this is actually real life. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
a really good point.
yeah,
To say and then to process, I think just to help them process and see so that because so often now kids just don't know how to like handle themselves.
because we shield them from too
Yeah, we try
much.
to protect them or we think it's in there for their best interest
Mhm.
and again, we're not saying like go in the depths of like super deep stuff, but just let them see and let them kind of understand age appropriately different situations so that they can see and then they can see the resolved result as well.
Yeah.
And that way it's like, oh, and then, yeah. So if they do take over the family business or they start their own business, then it's like that one bad customer is like, wait, how did mom handle this? How did dad? Oh, wait, yeah. And then they can just attack it and they know that they can be handled and not just like the end of the world because now
Yeah.
they have, a bad situation. So,
Yeah. Okay. Our next one is an important metric to look at is your groundedness. Or another way you could say that is like your peace. So,
mm,
how was your peace this past year? and you carry a lot of responsibility as a business owner. How do you carry that weight? How did you carry that weight this past year and
Yeah.
all those responsibilities? Are you a little ball of anxiety?
Little ball.
Are you stressed beyond belief? Do people not want to be around you because
Oof.
you were so
Does your family not
high
want to be around you?
strung? Yeah. Um, what did that look like for you? You know, because at the end of the year, it's like you can almost feel this at the end of the year, like you're barely hanging on and like I just need to finish the year. And so yeah, your numbers might look cool. Back to that again.
Mhm.
But are you desperately like looking for just a breath of fresh air at this point? Like were you able to take any rest? Or have you just been go, go, go all year long? Because your nervous system is probably shot by now if
Right.
that's the kind of way that you're doing business. So that's a big thing to assess too.
Yeah. Yeah. Having, I think when it's like when you're like having all, like, you see the one that's like making all the money, he's doing the thing, nice cars, big house. And then it's like, but inside, like, you can't even like be around him because it's just so on edge. He can't even enjoy life. And I think having not knowing where you're at, like, and so checking in with yourself too, like reflecting with yourself, where am I at, like how did I do, um even like the health checks too, to see where you're at with like your heart, and then and knowing just like when certain things pop up, like you just get that, like that feeling, and say, oh, and it's like, all right, so like how can we fix that?
Hmm.
We need to identify those things so that now we're not just like bottling it all in, and then now, like, we're the husband, we're the provider, we're the dad, so now I have to bottle this all in, and then you're just holding it all in. And so often, like, who was it? John Maxwell had that heart attack by like, was like 50 or something like that, like super
Young.
young, just because all the stress and everything that he like kind of created for himself, but didn't have any outlets, and then ended up having like heart attack and all the that. If you've known John Maxwell's story, it's kind of that whole situation. But um, yeah,
And it takes a lot of work, obviously, and there's a lot of pressure in running a business. And I think as a business owner, you are in the unique position that you're so emotionally attached to every single thing that goes on in the business. And I know, like, I just remember even starting, like, when you first started your business, like, the first bad Google review was like, I mean, it was almost like the end of
right,
everything because you take it so personally. And it was just like a crazy person, is what happened. It wasn't like your fault that in that situation, you know? But it's like you can be so emotionally tied as the business owner to every little thing going right. And so if you notice something that's going wrong, if you have an employee that leaves and like bad mouths you, or if you have, you don't hit your numbers, or the economy's rough and whatever things you might have had to do in the business because of the economy, and, or you have like a bad product, or, just any kind of issue like that,
yeah,
you can internalize that so deeply as the business owner as like a direct reflection on your character or your identity or your value. And so it's so important to not be attached like that to it and to your numbers. Like if you don't hit your sales goals, that people that can, and I mean, people get very depressed over those kinds of
yeah,
things. And so you can't have all your self-worth tied up in your performance. That's just never, because every time it changes. If things are really good or if things are really bad, you're going to be up and down. And like I said, like your nervous system, that's just like so crazy.
yeah.
So
But that, for me, like for the longest time, it was like is like the sales guy, the sales girl. Sometimes you can be like on an emotional roller coaster of the ups and downs of the sales life. One
I
day,
remember.
one day you're landing all these jobs, and your close rates like rocking, like, high 80%, and the next week you're just like not landing anything. You're just like questioning life as it exists now. Um and so if you live your life like that and you don't ever fix that, it's not a healthy place to be, because then nobody also wants to be around you because you're such an emotional wreck, especially like depending on the personality. Like for me, and just like always on 10, and so if you're on 10 negatively, that's just not a good place to be.
Mhm.
So I think like the groundedness, like, when you talk about like groundedness and peace. And so, like, how was your rest? Like, when you when you wake up in the middle of the night, like stressed out, or can you like have like a peaceful night's sleep? Or are you up at like 3 a.m. just like the internal clock is going off because now like you're distressed and you're thinking about the clients, you're thinking about having to close deals and you're thinking about all the stuff, all the situation, like how like is that going on right now? And like
Mhm.
and have you talked to anybody about that? I think so often like we can hold on to that stuff until it just like hoping that it just goes away or hoping that the problem will fix itself and then that will go away. But oftentimes it doesn't. And oftentimes like people just hold on to that and then it blows up and you blow up like and it reflects like blowing up on your spouse, blowing up on your kids.
Having a panic attack
Yeah, you don't
or
mean it. Like you don't
yeah.
you're not like cuz you're not like angry, but it's just like the way cuz you're bottling in all this anxiety or this stress and the how you're so dealing with cuz obviously running a business, has your ups and downs, it has the stressful moments, um, but, like, how do you handle it?
Mhm. And also, like, what are your outlets, like healthy outlets? And
Right.
so, healthy habits you can build into your life to relieve that pressure and that stress. So, like we talked about, having family time and maybe not being so obsessed with, just flipping on the football game or whatever. But do you need to go play golf? Do you need to go play a pickup
Yes.
basketball
Yes, you
game with your
do.
friends or whatever? Even establishing like a healthy exercise routine and trying to eat better.
Mm,
Like look at the daily routines and daily rhythms of your life, and there's probably changes that you could make in
yeah.
your day that will dramatically help those
I
things.
like, well, it's like I know, like, Dan Martell, he always says it too, and it's even, like, in his book, like, "Buy Back Your Time," and 'cause he talks about, like, working out and then in doing that, because he, like, you exhaust your body so that you can your mind can, focus, and it's
Mhm.
that thought of, like I mean, obviously, and Dan Martell's like all like shredded up nowadays, but like it's just that thought though, like you're working your body, you're putting all that anxiety, that stress, that whatever's going on in that day, and you're just pumping that iron, or you're running that track, you're on that treadmill, just going for it, and you're exhausting your body so that now you can focus and you can like actually be a decent human being as well too. So
Guess what we have started?
we have started a online community where married couples can come together in one place.
Yes, you will meet people just like you. Have you ever thought to yourself, does anyone else go through this? Or how do those other people on social media look like they never have any problems? Well, guess what? They do. They've just worked through them or
Mhm.
they're not showing them to you.
Mm.
And so we have created a community. We are all going to be real with each other. We're there to help each other. We're there to share stories and encourage each other. We are going to have resources of things that have quite literally changed our marriage,
Right.
the way we view each other, the way we view our marriage, and we're really excited.
Yeah, so many fun things in there. We don't want to reveal all of them to you. Just know it's going to be worth every bit for you and your spouse to join together so that you can be strengthened, you can be encouraged, and ultimately you can walk with purpose together as a couple. Let's get back into this conversation.
Our next one is alignment
Hmm.
or unity. You could say unity. And this is another one that comes back to your marriage. So we highly encourage at the beginning of the year, we talk about often like having a yearly getaway, like a
Yep.
retreat, just the two of you. Set your goals for the year, figure out what's important for your family. What are the things that you're striving to achieve together? What are the giving goals that you have, the things with your kids? Are there vacations you want to take? Are you saving up to buy a home? Or a rental property or whatever the thing might be that you're working towards, is ask yourself at the end of the year, reflect back and say, are we building towards that same thing? Are we still on track? Did we make progress towards the vision that we had set for ourselves at the beginning of the year? Because you can get so easily caught up once the year gets going. You can kind of lose track of those things and get distracted. And so, did we make any progress towards our goals this year? Maybe
Right.
you're trying to get debt free.
Mm.
Maybe you're trying to save up for some big thing. Maybe you're trying to free up your time so that you could be more present at the kids'
Right.
games, whatever, or travel more as a family, whatever your goals might have been. Ask yourself at the end of the year, how did we do? How did we do on that? Are we anywhere closer or did we actually get further apart from those
Right. No,
things?
it's a great because if you just like in business, you set goals,
Mhm.
you set revenue goals and deals maybe land, all the different goals that you might have in your business, and what we don't do that with our family. And then especially like as, husband and wife, we don't set standards or set goals as well. And it's just it's a good perspective to think about too, because we don't, we often we just kind of flippantly like live life with our family, and we're so like hyper focused on business. But if we were so hyper focused on family, how much more successful would the business be? And then when you can reflect and see like, you track your, however you want to track it, maybe we should get an app or something. But maybe, you track it on your calendar or whatever for date nights and debt being paid off and vacations being taken and, all these different little maybe mile markers, like whatever you guys have, whatever rhythm that you want to set up. And then just see at the end, like, how did we do? Did we even hit it? Did we even get close? I think if you can write it down and like make it clear, then you can actually see like, wait, did we actually do good? Oh wait, no, we didn't. It's kind of that same thought of like when people like don't want to make a budget, right? And they don't want to write their numbers down. So, but the moment you write your numbers down, then you realize like how much time you went to Starbucks and how much time did you go to the golf course. And you can start seeing it, like visualizing it too.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I love that you said that about date night being one of those goals too, because in that is like, that's how you stay aligned as you continue to grow together. And I guess how you make sure that you grow together, because that's something you hear, right? When people get divorced, we just grew apart.
Mm,
And it's like, you grow apart when you just get complacent and you drift and you're not intentional. And so when you are intentional and you stay plugged in and connected to each other, then you're having those conversations. Like, do you have a new dream in your heart? Like,
right.
what's a passion of yours right now? I know for us, like, even before when the kids were little, homeschooling was never on my radar. I never in a million years would have thought I wanted to homeschool. And it was actually like right before 2020 that God kind of put that on my heart, as just kind of opened my mind to it. And I started thinking about it more. And then obviously what happened in spring of 2020 and the whole world shutting down. And then Cameron was in second grade at the time. Her class went into like Zoom, it was all Zoom school. And I just remember being like, there's a better way. If we were doing that, and I loved her school, I loved her teachers, so nothing against them. But I just remember thinking like, this doesn't fit her structure and her routine. And by the time they're ready for this meeting, she needs a snack or she's getting kind of sleepy by this time. So like, that's not the best time for a
Right.
presentation hour. And I just remember thinking like, that was sort of the deciding factor, was that spring was, we're going to homeschool. And I don't know what that looks like. And I'm terrified. And I don't know if this is going to last forever, but I'm just going to try to be obedient to what I feel like God's leading us to. And you supported it, which I was very excited about. We had like a lot of conversations about it.
Right.
And I had so much just fear and insecurity and doubt and so much mental work I needed to go through to sort of even be ready for that. And now we're on our 6th year of homeschooling. And I just remember before we started, it's like, this is going to totally change the dynamic of our family. And I'm so glad that we were in a place where we could be open and have communication about that. And that you heard my heart and I could hear yours, because there were some questions we had about, is this the right path?
Right.
And for us to be able to be open with each other about our concerns and then ultimately agree upon this thing and now restructure our life in a way that we can pursue this path. And so for the next, I'm not big on necessarily saying like, we're going to do this forever, but we're in the 6th year. Our oldest in homeschool is in 7th grade now at the time of this. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't even know about next year. I'm just trying to take it each year as it comes. But as long as we stay connected, then if I'm really unsettled about something or something new comes up in my heart,
Mm-hmm.
that we're talking about it so that we're not just growing in separate directions. And then all
Right.
of a sudden it's like, wait, I was making room so that you could do this. I was trying to provide in this way. And now you're telling me you want to go do this thing over
Yeah.
here. And that's where you sort of have this, like, you grow into different people because you stop talking.
Yeah.
You
Basically,
stop talking about it.
as simple as we put it, we can put it. You just like stop talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You stopped your goals of building a life together and going in the same direction. You just stopped, and they only stopped because you guys stopped talking. You stopped communicating on that, and then you stop working towards that goal.
Mm-hmm.
As I mean, we can try to toss it up to all kinds of stuff, but as we if we peel back the layers, really, you just stop talking to each other,
Yeah.
and then when you stop talking to each other, now you're on like opposite, and you're like kind of going now opposite directions, and then now you don't have those shared goals and this shared vision,
Mm-hmm.
or it's just a little bit tilted off the offset.
Yeah. And like we talked about, like if your marriage or your family had one of those like life altering situations throughout the year, people's priorities change from some of those things. Like we've gotten really reflective since this past year, your dad passing away.
Right.
And we've both gotten very reflective over, okay, what is most important in our family, in our life? What kind of legacy do we want to be leaving? What do we love that our parents did that we're so grateful for that we want to keep? And what are some things that like we might try to start on our own that
Yeah.
might be different? And so this year's been really different for us, and we're having a lot of these conversations. And so it just kind of goes back to, you don't know those things if you're not talking.
Mhm.
So ask yourself that question at the end. Are we
Right.
still aligned?
Are you united or divided?
Yes.
Which one are you?
Which one?
Which one?
United we stand, divided we fall.
Gracious.
It's like
Yeah.
America.
It's America.
America.
But no, it's a really great way to reflect and just kind of see where you guys are at. Are you united? Are you divided? And it's maybe if like this is tough if you've never talked like this before, or it's been a bit. It might be a tough conversation to have, but it's a conversation that's necessary. And then once you have it, now you can start moving towards those goals. And maybe it's not at the pace that one of you might want it, but it's still in the motion of like actually happening, which is way better than like you guys going completely different directions. So
Yeah. Yep. Okay, our last one is charity.
charity.
Another way you could say that is like stewardship.
Hmm.
Um, and if you'll notice, should we let him in on it right now?
You want to?
Okay, so we started with love, engagement, groundedness,
Yes.
alignment,
Right.
and now charity.
Oh.
Oh, we're spelling something here. So charity, or stewardship. So for us, living a life of generosity is like such a high value for us.
Right.
But it's about, I think, as human beings, we leave a legacy beyond just like taking care of our own little family and our own little household. And so not just looking at like how much money did you make, but how did you steward the money that you made?
Right.
So did you just put it in your bank accounts or buy the things that you wanted to buy and that's it? And cool, your life is better because you made a bunch of money. Or were you able to be generous? Were you able to give into those charitable things that are important to you? Whether that's your local church, are you tithers? Do you give in big ways to your church? Are you generous with, just families that are closest to you? Do you help when you see a need? Are you able to do you look for opportunities to give and be a blessing to somebody is ultimately
Yeah.
what we mean with this one. So if you looked back at your year and all the money you spent, if you looked at every little line item, are you proud of every decision you made with your money?
I feel like I should have went golfing more.
I would totally say that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just that's another interesting question though,
Yeah. No, it's really good because like when it goes back to being aligned, being on the same page when you start, as we've been saying, all these little steps, and then that direction of where you are going as a family, the goals that you're setting, giving and what you're doing with the money actually matters, and especially as you have kids and now you're thinking legacy and generational wealth. Well, how are we creating the generational wealth? Are we being responsible for that? Are we setting up our kids
Mhm.
responsibly setting them up, or are we just like kind of winging it and figuring it out as we go? um did we need to go on all those vacations? Did we need to do all that stuff? Like sometimes it is good for like health of your family, but also like did it leave you in the hole? Or some of these like conversations, and obviously money conversations are always the tough one. And then that's one of the one of those big ones for divorce as the money talk, and but not talking about it is one of the reasons why you get in the situation,
Yeah.
and then it just festers and grows, and pretty soon it's like a big old forest fire that you can't put out because you didn't get it right away.
Mhm. I think too, at the end of your life, it's like I've never heard a story where someone said, I gave too much away.
Mm,
And so if all you're doing is spending your money on yourself, it's great if it's also for your kids and it's great for generational wealth for your family. I think that's super important. But if no one else's life is enriched by yours,
gracious.
then how big of a legacy are you really leaving?
Mm,
You know, like I want the earth to be a better place because I was here.
wow.
And me just hiding out in my house and making as much money as I can for myself doesn't impact anyone else.
Good.
And so that's just a core, like one of our core principles we have as a family is we will live a life of generosity. And we do believe we're living a life of generosity.
Yeah.
We have big giving goals for our church, even, and we've had them for years. And we're getting closer to being able to
Yeah, and it
fulfill some
keeps
of those.
and then and then when you start making money and as a business and you become successful, then you realize like, oh, it's actually like really tangible. It's like really close.
Yeah.
And it's like then you see it. Now it's like and then you start doing it and you're like, oh wait, like this is a thing that we're gonna be able to do.
Hmm.
Because it's cool to dream and it's cool to dream big, which we always encourage you guys to like have really huge goals. But then when you actually start accomplishing them and start getting closer, it's like, okay, this is good. And here's the thing that, which is wild. And this is like why we are so passionate about married couples in business and having a community for them and coming together is because the attack that could happen for you couple that is united together with a purpose of generosity.
Hmm.
I don't want to start preaching. I don't know where you're from, but the enemy, there's nothing more than the enemy wants to cut that off. And so we firmly believe that as a couple, if you're generous and you're moving forward to huge goals, like there's nothing more than the enemy wants to do is to shut that down and cut that off and divide you guys in and try to ruin your business and try to slow up your finances because he sees what you're doing. He sees like, oh no, I can't let this couple be successful because that's why sometimes when a big bad customer happens or a product goes south or something happens and it's like now you feel like you're being attacked by the enemy. It's like, well, probably are, and also this is why we've created our school community and different little platforms and workshops that we do for that purpose of like coming together as married entrepreneurs in a group like-minded people so that we could accomplish our goals together because when life happens and those situations happens it's like scary. You're like, what the heck's going on? We were doing so
Hmm.
well, and then a big old wave came and just smashed our boat. So now we're like, oh, our boat's just like rocking and we're not really sure what's going on. But to have like community and to be encouraged in those like little rough patches of seasons, because it's just a little season. And if you can just
Yeah.
stay focused and then stay in line and stay with your same goals, then you're gonna get out of it. But sometimes you all you see is the waves in the storm. But like when you have community, it's so freeing to know that like, oh man, just a little encouraging word from Kristen. She just like got me right out of it. Or whatever, whoever's like in the community, just to say like,
Hmm.
hey, I've been there, dude. It's like no big deal. Just keep going. You guys are gonna crush it. And I think because so just that mindset of knowing that when you're set out to do like have big generosity goals and creating generational wealth like beyond what you even know, like there is going to be a little of attack and a little adversity. So being in community, staying close with people and like-minded people, getting in rooms with like-minded people, it only breathes success.
Hmm. Good. I think generosity is like you never know the impact that it has beyond even just the gift that you're giving. And so we can see, like, I know there's been times when like we've felt just impressed to give in a certain situation, member, whether to do something for somebody or buy something for somebody or pay for something. And it's like, if all it is money, I mean, if you think about it like that, like all it took was money to do that thing. But the way that it impacted them and the way that it changed their family
Right.
trajectory And now the way that they view the church, the way that they view Christians, the way that they view other people, or just the goodness of God to show
Mhm.
up in a moment of need that they had. And now what the stories they get to tell their kids, the change that that has on their trajectory. And now they're experiencing wealth and prosperity, and then they're able to give. It's like, no wonder the enemy attacks so hard,
Right.
kind of like you're saying, is because the ripple effect of generosity in the earth is huge and so impactful.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest ways to leave like a real true legacy, because we give, right? And so that's just a big one, is to look back over your year. How did we spend our money? Are we proud of it? Are we not proud of it? Maybe you need to give more
Mm.
away. And there's so much more. I think that's something I would kind of challenge too, is if you made a bunch of money and at the end of the year, you're like, I thought I'd feel more fulfilled,
Right.
and you don't, and there's an emptiness in that, it's probably because you're not giving enough away.
Oof.
It's probably because you're holding on to it and you're thinking that the money and having some amount of money in your account leads to status or leads to fulfillment or leads to some sort of approval or validation on who you are and your worth. And it's not going to do, money can't do that. Money's just a tool,
Great.
and it's best used when it's given away and given into those things. So
That's great.
that's a big one. But okay, our last one. Do you notice the trend
Well, I
here?
like how you said that in the, like, legacy, a true legacy. I'm in them, I feel like.
Oh, setting up for what I'm going to
Yeah.
say. Okay, L for love. E, I was going to sing that song.
Wait.
Please, no, I'm not going to. E, engagement. G, groundedness. A, alignment. C, charity. You know what's next? Are you taking
Are you
notes?
taking
No one's
notes?
taking notes. Legacy. So we said there were 5 though. So we have a bonus one. That Y is a bonus. And that is, what is your why?
What is your why?
Ask yourself that at the end of the year when you're
Mhm.
looking over your business growth and setting goals and reflecting. What is your why for why you're even doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
Why did you start the business? Why did you get married? Why did you start a family? Why are you doing any of the things that you're doing?
Yeah. I think that's actually a really good point. Like, why are you doing the things that you are doing? Whether it is like a certain business, like, why are you doing that business? Is it like because like it's what you know, or it's what you've been doing, but you wanted to be doing something else, but you're just doing it because it pays your bills?
Mhm.
Like these are the questions that you should be asking yourself, so that at the end of your life, you don't have to look back and with regret and wondering what if, or man, if we just did this, or man, if we just started that business, or man, if we would have just changed what we did here in our relationship with our kids. Like, don't live your whole entire life and then look back.
Yeah.
Like, start with today. Like, what is your why? Even if you got that thing all jacked up, okay? Like, even if it's all just out of whack, like you can still start now. You can still change the projection, right?
Trajectory.
Trajectory trajectory of where your life is going to go.
Yeah. It's never too late, and there's always hope. And so there's no guilt, no regrets. Just start now and ask yourself those questions and write them down if you need to. Make like a vision board or put it on. We've put even like scriptures on our bathroom mirror. You can use a dry erase marker and it won't, you can erase it if you want to, which is great. But we
Like on a
write little
Sharpie.
reminders and scriptures that we're standing on, and just the promises of God that we believe are available to us. And those are the things that we want to keep in the forefront of our mind. And they help keep us on track throughout the year,
Right.
so that at the end of the year, you're not having to make these giant dramatic shifts,
Yeah.
but it's just these little nudges and little course corrections. So I think of like the example of like a pilot flying a plane, is if you set your destination, like they're not, if you, there's like these little micro tweaks they make in directing the plane. And if they don't make those, then by the end you can be like thousands of miles off course.
Right.
And then what a huge mess to have to clean up to like get back on track. Whereas if you just daily check in
Mm-hmm.
and make those little micro adjustments, then you're going to stay on the right path and get
Yeah.
to where you're trying to go.
Sticking with what's your why, and then you always come back to it.
Mhm.
And then, so if you know what your why is, then if a decision comes up that you need to make, well, how does this fall in line with our why?
Mhm.
And does it? Because if it doesn't, then maybe we shouldn't be doing it,
Good.
even if it seems like it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because even like volunteering at church sometimes, or taking on this special project, or whatever it might be, sometimes it doesn't align with right now of your guys' why as a
Yeah.
family. So
And it can seem like a good thing.
right.
It's just too many good yeses, you start to say no to the things that you actually said were a priority.
Yeah.
And even in that too, remembering your why of when you hit a hard season or a hard moment, or there's a dip in business, or there's that hard customer or bad client, whatever the situation, you just hit a rough patch. Remember your why. Remember why you're doing what you're doing, especially if you're in the slow build season and you're like grinding and you don't feel like you're seeing anything. Just remember why you even started this, and that will
Good.
encourage you to keep going.
Yeah. Hey, we hope you enjoyed this conversation. We hope that this kind of sets some things up for you and your spouse to get in line and to set some goals, set some big goals that you guys can dream together, maybe dream together again, or maybe even for the first time. But we hope that you guys come together, get aligned, and are on the same path, going the same journey. Hey, if you haven't heard yet, we have started an online community with like minded individuals just like you. So it's in the description below. Click the link and we can get you all the information. See you next time.